Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. In this video, I wanted to read a few precepts going into Job 20. And in these verses, it's speaking about Esau Edom and how he's going to be met with this great and terrible judgment, to the point where after he serves his 1,000 years of slavery and make up for all of the wickedness and iniquity that he's done on this earth, and also to the nation of Israel, he's going to have to repay with blood, because the Heavenly Father requires the past. So his judgment is so grand that after all that is happening, he's not going to be able to live in the world to come. He will build and work on the foundations of those things, but he's going to be brought low to the lowest point of non-existence. So the Heavenly Father, his last curse on Esau Edom is to ultimately just do away with him, meaning he's going to have it so that every male Edomite is going to perish. There's not going to be any uncles, nephews, cousins of the males to exist in the kingdom of heaven after the 1,000-year rulership that we're going to have over them, meaning that that's going to be the end-all be-all of the last name for Esau Edom. There's not going to be any more pedigree for that nation going down. And we say that because we read that in the book of Job, and it goes into that, how even this land, that once this place, Babylon, known as America, gets hit with thermonuclear fire because of World War III, this place is never going to be inhabited. And not even the Arabians are going to be able to pitch their tents here. It's going to be inhabitable. And these Edomites are going to be extinguished. So I'm going to read first this in Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And so this is the mindset of Esau Edom. He thinks he can just go around, covet fields, take them by violence, and do just a whole bunch of atrocities on the earth and push out wickedness, contrary to the scriptures. That's his inward thought. He thinks that there is no God. He thinks that if there is one, that it's him, that he's going to be as the Most High when he tries to establish his New World Order. And his mindset, why he's doing the things he's doing, why he's developing the MOTB so that he could put it in people's brains and hands, is so that he could try to circumvent this judgment. But ultimately, he's not going to prevail. The fact that the nation of Israel heard these words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the elect are standing up with great boldness. That's why they're moving quick with the sword and trying to escalate their New World Order agenda, because that's the only thing in their minds that they could attempt to get out of the judgment that's about to happen to them. So I'm going to read this again in Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, because this devil covet fields, takes them by violence, names them after his people. Columbus supposedly never went here to the Americas. He was there in the Puerto Rican areas, but then you still got Columbus Street and statues built of this guy here in America, because that guy is a highly esteemed Edomite with this mindset. So this other precept is another Psalms. In Psalms 10 and 6, it says, He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be an adversity. And we've experienced this and witnessed this at the Highways and Hedges also. When we show the signs about the impending doom that the nation of Esau is going to have happen to them, but also to this place, America, they scoff and laugh at that. They think that the signs are silly, and they don't perceive that is a possibility that's going to happen. And so as the years got closer to World War III, and the talks of wars are rumors of wars are happening all over the place, now these Edomites are considering it. Your regular average Joe six-pack Edomites are now looking at the signs and they're trembling because they know that what we've been saying could have that possibility of happening. But it's not going to be a could, it's going to be a when. Because these things are definitely going to happen. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And we're just the messengers, speaking these things and prophesying unto the nations, and speaking this against Mount Seir. So I'm going to read this Psalms one more time. In Psalms 10, verse 6, He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. But now, once things are escalating, you can see that these Edomites are in adversity. You just walk down any city in America, doesn't matter if it's New York or Michigan or Texas or California, San Francisco, LA, all the cities have a whole bunch of drugged out Edomites, and they are in adversity. They're through out here asking Jake for money. That's how bad it is for them. And so that's why the Heavenly Father is ultimately just going to do away with them, because that's just their nature. They are basically made to be destroyed. So this is in Job 20, and I'm going to read a few precepts into this because this is a long chapter, but it goes into the destruction of Esau Edom in the last days as he's trying to fulfill his New World Order agenda. So I'm just going to start at Job 20, jumping into... I'll start at verse 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? And so that's what's going to happen with Esau Edom. All the things that he's done, especially to the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, it's going to turn onto him. He's going to fall upon that sword that he's been trying to slay us with. Whatever snares and traps that he's been putting in front of us, he's going to be the one to fall in those pitfalls. And so I'm going to continue on. This is in verse 5. It says that the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Because, as it says right there, he's going to be done away with. And the remaining people in the kingdom are going to have to look into the scrolls, the history, the accounts of the elect. Because the elect of the nation of Israel are going to have those memories of dealing with Esau Edom. They're going to be the first fruits of the kingdom, dealing with Esau Edom and capturing him, forcing him to work, doing all these things. They were meditating terrors upon him, because that's what the Heavenly Father requires. This devil has done so much. His tab has reached unto the heavens that we have to do something about it in the kingdom, mind you. But so I'm going to read from verse 7 again. It says, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? So after that 1,000 years, if you want to hear about the notions of Esau Edom, we're going to have to bring out the scrolls. We're going to have to recount these things when we go into our high holy days about what happened to the nation of Israel when they were in distress. Because it's not just Esau Edom that we're going to bring up these things. It's all these other heathen nations that have done the nation of Israel wrong. And these are things that are basically written. They can't be unwritten. And Esau Edom, his whole nation is going to be done away with, to the point where if people look around, they're not going to be able to see them. We will have the records, though. So I'm going to continue on. This is in verse 8. It says, he shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. Because he's going to be ultimately chased out of this earth. It's done away with. You read a lot of various chapters in the scriptures, and mainly in the book of Job, it speaks about those things and has that vision about Esau Edom perishing forever. And so let me just jump down a little bit. I think it's just wanted to start here at verse 18, because mind you, this devil is trying to do anything and everything in his power to try to circumvent this prophecy. And so that's why you see all the things that's happening with their elites. They're going to the Bilderberg meetings and all these other seances at the summits. But ultimately, none of those things are going to help him and prevail against the Heavenly Father. He's ultimately just on borrowed time. And if you remember what those Georgia Guidestones said back in the day, because a few years ago they got taken out pretty much, and not to be remembered, but the elect remember that. The hopeful elect remember when that happened. And we knew that that was a spiritual thing, representing that Esau Edom and his wicked kingdom and his New World Order agenda is not going to prevail. So he's laboring at this thing. And you can see all the summits and things, everything he's trying to do is because he pretty much is trying to have it so that the whole nation of Israel is unsavable. But ultimately, this word has gone out and has accomplished that what it was sent to do, which is to gather the elect. Now, he can't put any charge against the elect of the nation of Israel. So he's laboring, and he's going to not succeed in this endeavor. So I'm going to read from verse 18 again. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. And yeah, he is succeeding in getting the foundation and all the building blocks ready. He's got all the heathens under the banner of Babylon, doing all these sorts of things, but he's not going to be able to have that fullness. Like, he's basically just going to go to the restaurant, order the meal, but then that's when Yahushua is going to arrive and flip that whole table. So I'm going to continue on. This is in verse 19. It says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he buildeth not. And because this is all for the controversy of Zion. That's really the main reason that Esau Edom's going to have this type of judgment. He touched the apple of the Most High's eye and has perverted that image and the notion and the thought of righteousness. Esau Edom has turned righteousness upside down. So all these things he has to account for. So I'm going to read from verse 20. It says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Because he desires this, that everybody is chipped and under wickedness and living that life of fornication. That's what he wants. In verse 21 it says, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon it. And in every endeavor he tries to do, it's almost as if you can see or have the notion of that there's angels there throwing monkey wrenches in his path, and he's stumbling. He's not able to keep these things under wraps. You look at the news, and there's always a whole bunch of scandals. Now everybody's starting to consider about this person. And ultimately, that's the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai revealing the wickedness of this place, lifting up its skirt, and seeing that the atrocities that this place has committed. And now it's not looking like this glorious, beautiful land known as America anymore. Now it's being represented as Babylon, the land of the wicked, the land of confusion. So in this fullness of sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon it. And so mainly the main thing that's making him in straits is this word. When we're out there on the highways and hedges, we are breaking down strongholds and reminding Esau Edom the time is running out. All right, so I'm going to continue on. Verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. And that's talking about the missiles, because these are the iron weapons. They're going to be shot out and land in this place. And so as he's trying to eat this meal, that's when the Heavenly Father is going to cast down that judgment. So I'm going to continue on verse 25. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. And this right here is very prophetic, because it represents those silos that the weapon is going to shoot out of the sky, and it's going to have fire and plumes coming out from the bottom of it. And that's basically the glittering sword. It's going to be bathed in heaven. And all the scriptures revolve around this vision of thermonuclear warfare and the elements melting with fervent heat. And that is the portion of this wicked man. That's the judgment that is going to meet him. So verse 26, it says, all darkness shall be hid in his secret place. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. And this fire not blown, this is a very specific fire. Thermonuclear radiation. The elements that are required to make those weapons don't need a lighter or gunpowder. It's a specific scientific fusion reaction that happens, that when it hits and it hits its target and it detonates, it's going to burn everything in its area, its vicinity. And they have a large radius. And it's not going to be like your average typical forest fire, if you will. It's going to be thermonuclear devastation. And that's the fire not blown, coming from this glittering sword, the iron weapon that's going to hit this place. And in verse 27, it says, the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And that's how we're revealing these things. Every day we see something on the news that just makes it more evident that Esau Edom needs to go. And the only way he has to go is by judgment. And after he does everything, picks up all the cigarette butts that he littered around the earth, all the plastic, anything that he ever built, thus will we throw down. And he's going to have to restore those things. That's really his main job in the kingdom. And after that, he's got no other use. Once we do that, and we clean up the place, he's going to be utterly destroyed. So I'm going to continue on. Verse 28, it says, the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from the Most High Yahweh, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. Now we can go into various other chapters and precepts in the book of Job, but I guess I'm just going to get to the point, read a few more precepts. This is in Job 18, just a few chapters back. Jumping down to the very end of it in verse, let me see. Yes, there's a lot of meat right here. I'll start at verse 13. It says, it shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. You see how they just keep hammering this notion. Brimstone, fire not blown. This destroying wind is going to meet this place. In verse 16, it says, his roots shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. This going into his family tree. Verse 17, his remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. And anything that he has that has his name on it, like those Mount Rushmore, well, technically that's in America, and all of America is going to be done away with. But any type of place that he tried to build anything in various countries and lands, they're going to be taken down. There's not going to be any remembrance of Esau Edom, of his existence really. Like I was stating in the beginning of this video, if you have to remember about him, you're going to have to actually get the accounts, the person-to-person accounts from the elect who actually had a deal with this devil. Because everyone else is not going to have that fresh memory like the elect are, because the elect, for the most part, they're not going to taste death. They're going to be delivered and translated to have that perfect body and live forever. And so that's how they're going to have that memory, that account of Esau Edom, because they're going to have that notion and also the glory in the kingdom, how we're going to have them in captivity for those first 1,000 years. You know, this is going to be a beautiful time. That's why we hasten the day, because we want that very much. But I'm going to continue on. This is in Job 18, and I'll start at verse 17 again. It says, his remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the streets. He shall be driven from light into darkness, and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. They that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And that's basically Esau Edom's spirit. Even if he knows righteousness, he's going to do the opposite. He just is basically crooked, built that way by the Heavenly Father to be that perfect adversary, so that the wicked is basically reserved for the day of destruction. Let me actually get that. We'll finish it off with that precept. This is in Job 21, and also jumping down to verse 29, it says, Have you not asked them that go by the way, and do you not know their tokens, that the wicked is reserved for the day of destruction? They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him what he hath done? So that's basically Esau Edom. Any Edomite that's born, it's for the sword. Any Edomite that is moving around in various places around this place on earth in Babylon is because they're spiritually getting ready to get burnt. They're basically the kiln to this fireplace, and this being made ready at this altar. So let me just read it in verse 31. Who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him what he hath done? And that is basically Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, starting with his hopeful elect, because when we speak, you're hearing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So we are declaring this with great boldness, speaking these things. Verse 32, Yet shall he be brought to the grave, and shall remain in the tomb. The clouds of the valley shall be sweet unto him, and every man shall draw after him, and there are innumerable before him. How then comfort ye me in vain, seeing in your answers there remaineth falsehood? But just, the topic of Esau Edom and his destruction. And we can go into various other precepts depicting this destruction and how he's going to be utterly done away with. But with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, Shalom Akim.